The subject is measuring engagement. This is the agenda for tonight. I'm going to go over what is engagement, why is engagement important, measuring engagement versus a sale, encouraging engagement, remarketing with engagement, and how does AdWords come to play. And AdWords is just one type of traffic that you can get. So what is engagement? Engagement is when visitors interact with your website. If you are using Shopping Cart Elite, which majority of you are, you can find more details under Overview. Click on T, which is Threat Engagement Analytics. But I just pulled this screenshot up. When a visitor comes to the website, as they are moving their mouse around, we are tracking their mouse movement, and each one of these areas, like this image, these drop downs, the description, they have a wrapper. We call it a key performance indicator. It's like a piece of code that wraps around that area, and when somebody moves their mouse over that area, we give them an engagement score. So like, 1 point for this, 1 point for that, and eventually it ends up adding up to where we can see if somebody has excellent engagement or if someone has poor engagement. The engagement is measured using the Threat Engagement Analytics in Shopping Cart Elite. We trigger it with KPIs or key performance indicators. The idea behind engagement is to understand why visitors interact with your website and how they interact. And you can also try to repeat what they did with your site. So it's sort of like going back in history and looking at that snapshot in history to see exactly what they did on your site and see if there was an issue. So in other words, if you see that there is an excellent engagement and they might have not bought something, or there's a poor engagement, there's always a question why. There's always a core problem on why the engagement is what it is, and it could either be bad traffic or there's something going on the website. So why is engagement important? Engagement is important because a sale, right? Everybody measures sales like ROI, what's your return on investment? Google measures sales with conversions with Google Analytics, but a sale is only an after effect of the engagement, which means that it doesn't matter how much traffic you're going to get. Obviously, we all know that more traffic potentially could be more sales, but in reality, it is possible to not get any more traffic. In fact, you can get even less traffic and still make more sales by truly understanding engagement and fully focusing on it. And measuring your progress on engagement is easier. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Let's say we conclude that your sales copy is not great or whatever. Just use that as an example. We think that your sales copy is not great. Maybe you can add a video, maybe you can add more description, whatever it is that you think you can add to your product page. So you, let's say, add a video, and then you're going back the next day and you're seeing, am I going to get any sales now? And if the answer is no, you get discouraged. Now, we don't need a sale from engagement. We're just looking to see if they are interacting with our site after the video was placed, which means if the engagement was poor on a certain page, you add a video, and all of a sudden the engagement is excellent and with flying colors on every visit to that page, you have achieved a result that you would not normally be able to measure if you were only tracking if a sale happened from whatever you did. So for example, I'm going to be using some store examples after the presentation. We're going to actually analyze some of the traffic. I have Wayne with Remus Exhaust Shop on this webinar, and I'll be looking at his store. And if we have a chance, Marcia with Coupons Clip will be looking at her store, because I'm actually looking at both of those stores periodically. So just to recap what I said about engagement, let's use Wayne as an example. Wayne, for example, has poor engagement on product A. He puts a new video, he puts a new sales copy, all of a sudden engagement on product A is not poor, now it's average or good or excellent. So because a sale, and we'll get to it like why this is an after effect, but I'm telling you that a sale is an after effect of an engagement, which means that if you are doing marketing and you do a good job on creating excellent engagement on your product page, it will lead to sales for sure. It's guaranteed because I do this all the time and we do it to our own company. We do email marketing, as you know, and sometimes after an email campaign, we don't even get as many appointments, or leads don't turn into appointments, and sometimes we nurture clients that could become clients of ours, but we don't get results for weeks from them. And for someone who doesn't have engagement a part of their analytics, it's very discouraging, right? Because you're doing all this marketing, you're doing all this work, and then you just look one day and it's like, my God, like I did so much work yesterday. I stayed until 1 a.m. setting up this email campaign and nothing today. Like this is ridiculous. But for me, I don't need an appointment, I don't need a lead, I don't need a sale. All I need is engagement. right? So if I see like, okay, nothing is happening, is there a problem? All I have to do is just go to my analytic and say, show me all the traffic from that campaign for today. And as long as the engagement is good, I'm happy. I'm not worried about it because I know that the engagement is an after effect of a sale. So as long as the engagement was there, the job was well done for today. Let's move on. Engagement versus sale. Why is engagement an after effect of a sale? Because a sale has a life cycle of when a sale will be made. So for some people, the life cycle is immediate. So Marcia, she sells coupons, clipped coupons. Her website is couponsclipcheap.com, and people literally buy out all her coupons before they even get published. Everybody wants it now, and her life cycle of a sale is that very second. The second she lists the products, she gets the sale. Now, for somebody like Wayne who sells an exhaust for $1,000, the life cycle of that is not going to be that very instant. The life cycle will be something that looks like this. I'm at work on Monday. I engage with Wayne's website, and I check out the exhaust that he has, and I'm thinking about it. Good idea, but I don't know if I'm ready yet. I want to do more research about it. Then I come home. I still look at it. I do more research. Then I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired. I want to go to bed. I go to bed, I get my mobile phone, I'm looking at it from my mobile phone. Now keep in mind, my office IP address is different, my home IP address is different, my mobile IP is different, and possibly, my tablet, could be the same as home, maybe it's different. But I've touched Wayne's website at the office, at home, at mobile, and tablet. Now let's assume that I made a purchase from Wayne's website on a tablet 5 days later. According to Google Analytics, Wayne is going to see, first time a visitor came in, first time he looked at your product, first time he bought it, perfect, sale is made. This is exactly what Google AdWords shows you in Google Analytics. But what they fail to show you is that the tablet and that particular visit, which might have been a direct visit, not even from AdWords, is not responsible for that sale because I initially came from AdWords. I initially visited the website 5 days ago at my office, and then at home, and then at mobile, and then on tablet, and then I made a purchase there. So the question is, how much of a life cycle do your customers need to make a sale? And honestly, Google Analytics will not show you the right score because they don't track all the touch points. They only track that one session, one visit. So assuming that the visitor is at home or at the office and they make the purchase that day or another day from the same IP address, yes, they'll measure that. But in general, you'll find that analytics shows you that all your sales are done within 1 day, which is not true because, well, again, depending what kind of product you have, but in Wayne's case, that might take a week, that might even take a month before a sale is made. And usually there's multiple touch points. When I say touch point, this is a device that you use to interact with a website. So if we know that your product might take X amount of days before a sale is made, let's say 7 days as an example, how can we truly know if we should keep buying certain traffic that we're buying without seeing the full pictures? And I'll get into measuring multiple touch points, but let's not go that advanced yet. Let's just talk about engagement for a second. So if I am at my office and I'm really, really interested in Wayne's product, then I'm going to be on his site for 6 to 10 minutes, right? If I go home and I keep engaging, I'm still 6 to 10 minutes, so I'm excellent engagement. And on my mobile, I'm engaging. And on the tablet, I'm engaging, which means that engagement does lead to a sale because even though you're not measuring all the touch points, the core effect of that sale was led by the engagement. Now let's look at a different scenario. Let's say that I came from the office and I had poor engagement, and then I never come back again, right? This means that I will never come home and browse that site. I will never use my mobile, and I will never use my tablet. So if you look at sort of the odds, if there is excellent engagement, then possibly the sale wasn't made because it'll be made in the future, especially if your life cycle is long because you have a certain type of product that needs time before the purchase is made. And if you don't have that kind of a cycle and you have poor engagement, well, you know what? You'll never get that extended cycle because that person had poor engagement and they will not continue browsing on your website in the future, and they are not interested in your website right now. So poor engagement usually should be removed, and if you're paying for that kind of traffic, then that poor engagement should be removed altogether. The conclusion is, right, that engagement leads to sales. So what happens when you have a high engagement with no sales, right? I speak to clients all the time. In fact, Wayne even told me, yeah, we're buying traffic and there's some engagement, but I'm not really happy with the sales we're making. We're supposed to be making triple the sales we're doing. So there's only 3 kinds of problems that could occur. You have a technical problem, which can maybe, I don't know if it can happen. We did encounter technical problems if you have a custom design. We're making a release this weekend actually to make sure that the framework for custom designs will never break ever again. Tech problem, usually the way you troubleshoot it is, let's say somebody comes in to your website from using Internet Explorer 10 and they have poor engagement, while the same kind of visitor comes to you from Google Chrome and has excellent engagement, and then you sort by browser type and you see that all IE10s have poor engagement, well, maybe they have a poor engagement because you have a other problem, but maybe there's a tech problem. So the way to check is to go to an IE10 browser and actually browse your website just like that visitor to see if there was an issue or not. If you're curious about how to do that, there is a company called browserstack.com which allows you to do cross-browser testing. There's a free trial. You can sign up for it and test your own website for that kind of a technical problem. Again, technical problems are rare because before you go live, we usually walk through it and troubleshoot it, but they have happened in the past, so I'm not going to rule that out. I mean, you definitely should look for that and try to replicate what the visitor did regardless. If it's a technical problem or a funnel, you should repeat what they did anyway if you're focusing on improving engagement. Second problem is a funnel problem, right? So either your price is not competitive or your sales copy is not engaging or something that has to do with marketing and has nothing to do with the traffic. So the traffic was good. They might have even bought something from you, but you have a marketing problem. And if you go to Shopping Cart Elite articles and see, there's a bunch of things that we tell you how to optimize. So optimize your search result, optimize your product web pages, optimize your bounce rate, optimize your checkout. So if you click on any one of these articles, it's a very, very in-depth article about what you can do to fix that specific problem. There's examples there. Again, if you're focusing on it, I would highly recommend that you go through each one of those articles that you're focusing on because I put a lot of time into them. It would be equivalent to me consulting you one-on-one, except it's through an article. So funnel problem, again, I'll skip it, but it has to do with price or sales copy or something that has to do with marketing. And finally, it could be a remarketing problem. So what is remarketing? A remarketing is to engage them on these devices at a later time because they're not ready to buy. So in other words, if it takes you 7 days to finish the sale, then how do we do remarketing to that visitor? And there's different ways of remarketing. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but Google offers remarketing services where you could place a cookie on your visitors' browsers, and as they browse around the website and YouTube and whatever, your ad will keep showing up in their face. We'll touch on that in a minute if it's a good idea or not. But basically, the remarketing problem is that, let me give you an example I just used the other day. Shopping Cart Elite has the same problem, but let's just use an e-commerce client. So a jewelry client who sells diamonds, paying $5 a click to get a visitor, right? Very expensive. Now, somebody buying like a diamond ring for their fiance is not going to buy the ring on the spot from you just because he came to you from pay-per-click. He'll probably look at your site, maybe bookmark it, look at your competitors, bookmark them. He'll probably take 3 months, maybe more, maybe less, to buy that ring, right? Let's look at this scenario. So the customer comes to your site. You pay $5 to get him there, okay? Pay-per-click. He browses, excellent engagement, perfect. But no sale, right? Well, that's fine because you will never sell a ring that same day. I mean, maybe you will, but in most cases you won't. It needs a longer life cycle time. So let's say 7 days or 30 days, it doesn't matter. He leaves the website, and then he comes home, and then he gets into a fight with his fiance, and then his boss calls and starts complaining that you have deadlines and this, and then he has to go shopping and he has to whatever, right? Busy with life, he's in a daily grind. Do you really think that he's going to remember your site if you didn't bookmark it? He's probably going to go to Google and type in, diamond ring and try to find your site, maybe. If you haven't triggered a remarketing through Google, that's another way of not finding it. But ultimately, if we look at a pool of, let's say, 100 people who are going to come to your website with a life cycle of 30 days, and you did nothing to remarket to them, you will lose a huge chunk. I wouldn't be surprised if you wouldn't lose everybody. Maybe you save like 1 or 2%, but anybody who does not make a purchase that very day, you most likely lost those guys, right? Does it have to be that way? Do you really have to lose them? Is there no other way to remarket to them? Because they will forget about you when they leave. They will. Looking at Shopping Cart Elite, some of the leads we target are 4 months old, 6 months old. I even had leads that are 1.5 years old. 1.5 years we've been email marketing them before they called us. It's ridiculous. We have over 1,000 people in the pipeline for email marketing, and we will never hear from these guys until half a year from now. So if you're a jewelry client selling jewelry e-commerce, you need to fill up your pipeline because selling rings is not going to be 3 months or 6, maybe 6 months that they'll make a purchase, but you have to stay in touch with them. Now, the other question I had is how often to touch your clients? Like, that's crazy to reach out to them every day. Well, is it crazy? It could be either phone call or email or AdWords, whatever it is, just reminding them about you. Is every day often or not? Now, let's use email as an example. If you send an email to somebody, assuming they'll get it in their inbox, assuming they will even see it in the funnel of their all emails, what do you have, like 3 seconds before they close out your email? They might not even click on your email. So was it a waste or not? The question that you should ask is, I'm going to use Coca-Cola just as an example. Maybe not anymore because we kind of get targeted ads nowadays, but back in the day, like 10 years ago, Coca-Cola would be in your face 24/7, commercial here, commercial there, billboards, this, in your face, right? You got what, like 2-3 seconds of interaction? But what does that do to your subconscious? That embeds it in your head, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. And next time you shop for a soda, which one are you going to buy? And by the way, I don't drink soda at all, but again, we just use that as an example. So if you touch your client with some kind of a communication, even daily, they don't have to buy from you, but you just reminded them and embedded in their head that you exist and you have a product that they might want one day. If they don't want to deal with you, they'll unsubscribe or they'll kill the pixel of the ad and they won't interact with you. So this is an example for like Marsha. I know she does email marketing and I get her emails because I subscribe to her list. I get it once a week. So the question is, what happens if she increases the frequency to once a day? Literally once every single day, send an email. Is she going to lose subscribers? Maybe. But most likely people who are loyal clients of hers, who use her, maybe they'll complain, hey, too many emails, and maybe she will need to adjust the frequency, but more likely what's going to happen is they'll be like, okay, whatever, that's fine. I'll just delete it if I'm not interested today. But what can she email? She has like 100 different coupons. Just email one promoted coupon every day. Now, maybe they won't buy it. Maybe it's an overkill, but you know what? You're going to embed that message in your head that you are the person for the coupon, and they will never think of anybody else because you're going to be sort of like a household name to go to your site. So remarketing, right? If the person did not buy from you today, is there a chance that they will buy from you tomorrow? And every day you stop communication, that's every day that they're going to be drifting and drifting away from you until they forget about you. So you could continue paying Google pay-per-click, and you can continue doing whatever you're doing, but at the end of the day, if you're not constantly re-engaging, then you're just killing your own sales. Engagement versus sale, right? We're going to move past this slide. Engagement versus sale. Engagement leads to sale. You have to understand what your life cycle is, and you have to make sure that you're touching your visitor throughout the whole life cycle. If you miss even one day in your life cycle, you're killing your conversions. That's a fact, I can tell you right now. Encouraging engagement. How do we encourage engagement? Of course, the easiest thing is give me your email because then I can just re-engage with you for free. I don't have to pay Google. I don't have to pay anybody to re-engage with you. We have an autoresponder. We haven't really advertised it much in Shopping Quarter Lead because it was still in beta stage at the time. Right now, it's out of beta because we heavily use it ourselves. And this is actually one of the biggest highlights we're going to have in 2014. We are going to be doing very heavy enhancements inside Shopping Quarter Lead to the email marketing side where engagement is going to play a role. The autoresponder is going to play a big role. I'll get to that in a second. But basically, as long as you can somehow get the customer's email, you can then re-engage with them throughout the whole life cycle. And we already have an autoresponder that can do that for you, so you don't have to buy any new software. It's already in place, actually. The only thing we may have to do is because we probably will have so many clients asking to have it set up for them, we just may have some kind of a small setup cost to write out the messages and configure the emails and just prepare everything. But once it's set up, it's fully automated at that point. So email is probably the best way to remarket to your existing visitors that engage with you, especially if you can get a hold of their email. There's ways to do it now to get a hold of their email, which is let's trade your email and I'll give you a coupon. There's a bunch of ways to get an email. If you have a web developer on staff, speak to them to get it done. If you do not have a developer on staff, I'm going to encourage you not to request us to develop it for you because we're actually going to roll out a feature very soon. It probably will be end of February, which will auto-enable different methods of getting the email address from your clients for this very purpose. So we're actually in the middle of developing that marketing feature, and it will just be rolled out to everyone, so it'll be a click away to activate it, and you won't have to do anything custom. So if you want to experiment it now, that's fine, but if you can wait, then I encourage you to wait until we release that feature. Another way of measuring engagement is through video engagement. So we actually do that ourselves. I'll just log in real quick and I'll show you 1 second. We use Wistia, so wistia.com. If I'm not mistaken, they are the only posted videos where they measure engagement of how much of the video was watched. They capture email and they make it super easy for you to be able to re-engage with your visitors. I'll just give you an example. I'm logged in, and every time somebody watches a video, I'm able to see, which video they watched and how much they watched it. And if there was an email, then I would get an email of what they watched. Now, then what we do with that is we have Easy Data Feed. If you're not familiar with it, this is our other product that basically allows automation of anything. So we can scrape data, we can integrate any two platforms, and we can input data into any website. So specifically, we have an Easy Data Feed running that goes to Wistia, checks if anybody watched the video, and if they did, it takes their email with how much of the video they watched, and if they watched over 65%, it puts them back into Shopping Cart Elite, into the support desk, which we are using as a CRM tool to capture leads and remarket them. And it also auto-enables the autoresponder on them. So basically, anybody who watches a video automatically gets an autoresponder set up for nurturing that particular lead, especially if they watched a lot of videos. We have a different autoresponders that get turned on for that. So if you have videos or if you're planning to make videos, this would be a great addition. In fact, I'm going to use an example here where this would be very useful. One of our clients, Green Frontiers Water, we made this funnel for him where, finally the real truth about poison water, and if you want to play the video, then you have to put in your email. So if I put in my email, let me just put a fake one, then I get to watch the video, right? But now if I watch the whole video, which is up to 3 minutes, Wistia is going to tell me that this particular email watched the video for 3 minutes. So guess what? They probably didn't buy the product, but now I can remarket to them with email marketing with an autoresponder. And I can try to get them to speak to me by the phone, or I can try to get them to buy the product. I can try to get them to watch more videos, right? He has whole movies here that they can watch and try to re-engage with his product. But the idea here is if they watch this video and they watch these 3 movies, they're probably going to buy this product. Now, if they watch this video and leave, tomorrow they're going to forget about this product. But if tomorrow I'm going to come back to them and say, hey, I know you love this video. You probably will love this video too about why water is so important, and this video, right? And just keep throwing videos at them for the next year. I can almost assure you that visitor is going to buy something sooner or later if they really need your product and they haven't bought it from anyone else. That's how video would be measured with engagement. And by the way, before I move on, if you need any of these apps from Easy Data Feed, you can just go to easydatafeed.com, click on Solutions, Shopping Cart Elite Apps, and they're pretty inexpensive. So if you want to download Wistia engagement to Shopping Cart Elite, you can just buy it right from the website and we'll set it up for you. So this includes the Easy Data Feed and the setup for each one of these. So this is Wistia, and the Click Desk is for the live chats. And if you have another live chat software, we can do that. But live chat, same thing. If somebody engages with you with a chat, we can't rely on our chat operator to make a decision if that person is truly interested in Shopping Cart Elite or not, and if they should be re-engaged with remarketing with an autoresponder. So what we do is we download all the live chats from ClickDesk into Shopping Cart Elite. One of our guys manually reviews every chat to see if they should be re-engaged or not, if they haven't set up an appointment, and then that's another way we do re-engagement with them. And by the way, our re-engagement life cycle is 12 months, so all of our autoresponders are actually designed to keep emailing you for 12 months, and most likely I'm going to keep adding more emails into it, so it's going to be like a never-ending remarketing campaign on anybody who ends up on the list. Finally, touch points. So this is another big thing that we're going to be developing this year, hopefully soon. So touch point is, going back to this slide, we have office, home, mobile, tablet. The question is, how do we measure all 4 of these, right? And how do we paint a bigger picture of who is truly a loyal, engaging customer? And you can do all kinds of things with that, because if somebody is that loyal to you and has not become your customer yet, which, by the way, with Shopping Code Elite, I had so many people read my articles over the months and even over a year, and they've never even spoken to us, right? Wouldn't it be great if we can just say, here's a guy who probably spent over 70 hours over the year interacting with our brand, but they still haven't even spoken to us to become a client? I mean, wouldn't it be great to reach out to them? It wouldn't even be a cold call. I mean, they probably know us better than we know them because they interacted with us so much. The idea here is measuring touch point. So the way we're going to be doing it is every time somebody visits the website, and we're already doing it, it's not all put together yet. We have a visitor and we have an IP address for each one of those visitors. If we don't have an email address for them yet, we just archive that session. So we archive the IP address and we archive the engagement score. But at any given time, when we engage that visitor and we say, give me your email address, if he gives us his email address, we will automatically get his IP address. And then we will go back into the database, look at the whole history, and see if there is an IP address that already exists with previous history, and we'll map it all together. So basically, we'll keep recording visitor sessions, and then once we find out an email address, we'll start mapping previous sessions to paint a bigger picture. This is called the touch point engagement. So that's a touch point that I just said. We have all these different touch points, and we're compiling them all to understand what kind of engagement we had. And then our autoresponder already does 5 things today. So this is not like beta product that's not ready yet. This is live right this second. You can trigger an autoresponder on a visitor who abandoned step 1 of the checkout, step 2 of the checkout, step 3 of the checkout, which tells us, step 1 means billing problem, step 2 shipping problem, step 3 maybe gateway problem or some technical problem that occurred. You can trigger an autoresponder. You can also trigger an autoresponder. I have to check. I think it's if they did purchase something, you can trigger an autoresponder, and if they replied to your email, you can do other events. So that's live today. And one of the things we will also introduce into the autoresponder is trigger an autoresponder if engagement will probably have a new point system, but if they will have a certain amount of points for overall engagement, not just one session, but over time, over a 30-day period, then put them into an autoresponder. Right now, I manually research this because as people come in at the end of each month, I put together a spreadsheet and I measure which visitor had good engagement more than once with us. We put him into an autoresponder by hand. The idea here is to automate that, where the system will know who engaged more than once, and the system will know which autoresponder to turn on that particular person, and it will just automatically work behind the scenes. For you, this would be great because if you turn this on, plus the gathering of the email will be turned on, the whole thing will be automated. You just get the guy's email, and you keep marketing with email, with AdWords, with whatever you have to do. Just get them into the site, make sure engagement is excellent, and we take everything from there. So we'll get his email for you. We'll get the autoresponder turned on for you. All this needs to be set up. I don't want anybody to think this is going to be like just, press a button and we're done. Like the emails need to be set up. But the idea here is that if you have everything set up once, you just have to do marketing the way you imagined, where you just have to get traffic and you have to make sure the engagement is there and the sales will come based on remarketing them throughout the life cycle. Different ways of remarketing. How can you remarket to these individuals? I should add email marketing, which kind of touches autoresponder, but you can do both. The first way is through AdWords. You can get people from Google pay-per-click to your site, but you can also trigger a remarketing to follow them around. In most cases, remarketing is done wrong because you are triggering remarketing on everybody, including poor engagement, including bot traffic, including garbage, right? So let's say you had 100 visitors today. Out of 100 visitors, you might only have like 10 people that need remarketing. You don't need to remarket all 100. So let's say you have a $50 budget for the day for remarketing. If you're going to take the $50 and spend it on 100 people, you're probably not going to do a great job remarketing. If you're doing $50 on 10 people, you're going to do an overkill on remarketing, which is great. Well, you probably should, adjust the frequency of how overkill you're going to go with it. But the idea here is if you spend $50 on 10 people, you'll do an amazing job. If you spend $50 on 100 people, you'll probably do a very poor job. Now, live remarketing is not available as of January 15th, which is today, but it will be with our new live threat engagement because we're going to be releasing live threat engagement. So we can trigger a remarketing pixel on a specific visitor within a second. That's going to come soon. AdWords, which is pay-per-click, so sending traffic to your website. Now, again, if you're selling coupons, great. You can make a sale immediately and you don't have to worry about it. But still, you want them to come back, right? Email marketing would be great, which means that if they made a sale with you or they registered an account with you, now you have their email. Now it's time to set up an autoresponder campaign. Now it's time to do email marketing on them. So AdWords should be sort of like the bait for your traffic. It shouldn't be your end-to-end sales, because if you do that, you're only targeting not a small, it's a pretty large segment of visitors, which is the impulsive buyers, the ones that buy the same day, but you're completely missing out on the other half, which is caring buyers, aggressive buyers, logical buyers, the ones that need more time throughout the life cycle. And I'm actually one of them. Sometimes I act as an impulsive buyer with some products, but sometimes I'll take a week or even a month before I make a purchase decision. And if you got me through AdWords, you might have gotten lucky and I became an impulsive buyer, but also you might have gotten unlucky and I'm going to wait a month before buying it, so you want to continue to remarket to me until I make that sale. Email marketing, self-explanatory. We're not going to touch on email marketing specifically, the subject. We'll leave that for another webinar, but email marketing would be a great way once you get their email. And autoresponder is the same thing as email marketing, except it's not one-way communication. It's probably more a two-way communication. So in other words, you're not announcing something to them. You're trying to interact with them. Some of the message can be more like one way, but a lot of messages could be two way, where you're actually expecting a response from them. It doesn't have to be a fancy message. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could literally be just one paragraph, regular text, and that's it, with a link to your website. The automation coming soon is basically what I was saying, that we'll eventually be able to combine touch points through T and put them into autoresponder automatically. At the moment, you have to do it manually. I do it manually, right? So if you really want to do it, you can do it. I do it every day. This is as far as the remarketing. Now, because I'm sure some of our clients will want to have us set up the whole thing, this last slide is a promotional slide specifically for AdWords through our partner Digital Bison. They understand how to use threat engagement analytics, and we actually are about to make special reports for them to kind of streamline their optimization process. So I'm going to just touch on this slide real quick to show you that if you do want to do AdWords and you don't have a marketing agent, if you do have a marketing agency, by the way, and you're happy with them, you can just send the new ROI report that we're going to release in the next 2 weeks to them. They won't even have to log into your system. You literally just send them a CSV file of what to do with your campaign. It will automatically make the decisions for you. But if you don't have a marketing agency and you're looking for one, this is our preferred partner. The main reason why they're preferred is because they know what they're doing and they know how to use our tools, so that's why they're preferred. So with AdWords, if you're looking to do a setup, they would set up the campaign, they would do the rebidding based on engagement. Again, report coming soon. They would segment the traffic. So segmenting the traffic, it's going to be all inside the report, but basically, let's say that West Coast is not doing good engagement, but East Coast is. Google allows you to segment by device. It allows you to segment by geographic location, including certain states. I don't have a list in front of me, but there's a bunch of segments. And the way we're doing the segmentation is we're basically saying that if you're getting excellent engagement for keyword A, but you're getting poor engagement from people on the West Coast, but good engagement on the East Coast, the report will show that kind of information. At that point, you would shut down the traffic from that particular segment. And they would optimize the keywords. So they would run the complete campaign for you. You would not have to be involved, especially once this report is finished. You will definitely not have to be involved, really, besides just making sure they did their work, because the report will tell them what to do. We were working with them together to make sure the report is perfect. I have an example here. I'll just show you real quick. We sorted by engagement. We said, okay, everybody who's coming in from this keyword, tire changer, has excellent engagement, so we should increase the budget for this particular keyword, while this particular keywords, or there's no keywords, this is a Google display network. So we're saying that a bunch of traffic coming in from hot pages and trading chart, all these different ones are garbage, either bots or they're not engaging, so we should get rid of it. And another one is like motorcycle tire changer. We're saying engagement is poor. There has not been one single keyword with good engagement, so get rid of this keyword. This is the type of report they will get based on certain decisions, why you should continue buying certain keywords and why you shouldn't. We already have those reports, but after working with Digital Bison for 2 weeks optimizing the report, we made it even easier to understand So ultimately, if you know what you're doing with AdWords, you can just use the report for yourself and do your own campaign. If you don't know or don't have time and you just prefer to get it done for you, we can do that for you. So the setup is $29.95 for your full campaign, and the management comes out to be $100 for every $1,000 you spend, with a $500 minimum per month. So for some people it might be, that's fine. For some people it might be extremely over budget, which means you can try doing it yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. In the tutorials, I actually have videos on how to do it yourself if you're curious, but if you can afford it, I would highly recommend doing it right. It's going to work. This is the end of the presentation. Does anyone have any questions? If you have questions, I'll address them. And if you don't have any questions, I'm going to jump into 2 stores to show you how I would optimize them. One of them is going to be Wayne, and if we have time, I'll do Marsh's. There was a question earlier about spam. In most cases, first of all, you have to add inside your terms and conditions what you will be doing when a visitor comes to your website. I highly recommend that you do everything legal. You have to put it into your terms and conditions that you will be sending them emails, even though they might have not requested it, but the reason why you're sending it because they engage with your site. So by automatically visiting your website and engaging for 2 minutes, they automatically give you permission to send you an email. If they don't want to get an email from you, they can unsubscribe. The autoresponders specifically, because they're very personalized, it looks like you just sent an email by yourself without doing it manually. I would probably suggest to maybe put a message in it saying that if you don't want to get any more emails from us, just reply back. And if they do reply back, you can have that automated by stopping the autoresponder, or you can manually shut it off for them. But in most cases, nobody says to stop the emails, especially if they're quality emails. And you're only triggering those on people who engage with your company, which means that they'll be more than happy to get your emails, because why would they spend so much time interacting with your company if they weren't interested? I'm sure you'll get some people that don't want to get any more emails, but majority of them will not be a problem. At least I haven't found that to be a problem. I doubt you're going to get that much engagement that you're going to be flooding people in spam. Like, for not a busy site, you might send out like 10 emails a day, which is not a big deal. There's a question if we should do engagement with social media. Absolutely. Social media, it's the same thing as AdWords, except it's social media. Since you brought that up, we offer a social media management service, and I was just waiting for the video to be finished explaining how the service works, and the video was finished today. So by the end of the week, I'll announce to everyone our social media management service if you're interested. And if you're not interested in having us manage it, there's a bunch of videos of how to do it yourself, which you are more than welcome to. There's formulas on how to do it, and there's instructions on how to do it, so you can do it yourself as well. But yeah, social media is a great way to get engagement, not sales. Don't mistake that. You will probably not make a lot of sales from social media, but you will definitely get engagement, which will later become sales. The social media management is just a service. I'll announce it to everyone inside Shopping Cart Elite, and you'll be able to see all the details on it. All right, I'm going to open up the store for now. If you have any questions, I'll address them. If not, I'll proceed with the store. So we'll do Remus first. Wayne, are you doing any AdWords also, or are you only doing Google Shopping? Because if you're doing AdWords, the URLs are not properly mapped, which means I won't be able to know who's AdWords and who's not AdWords. You are doing AdWords. Make sure that if you click on AdWords and you click on Manage Campaigns, right, AdWords, this whole string, this whole URL extension has to be on every single link inside your AdWords. So if you put a question mark in this whole thing, it's not going to ruin your URL. It's just going to be populating the keywords that our software is going to pick up. And this one is already, there's a tutorial how to set them up, but this is already predefined. So all you have to do is just reports. Let me just go there again. Reports, ROI, manage campaigns, AdWords, and you just take this whole string, copy it, and put it at the end of each link inside your ad. For now, we'll just measure your Google Shopping visits, because those are being tracked automatically when you submit the feed through us.